Hello and welcome to a very different Let's Play from me, Acciyn. Why is this different? Well, first of all, I'm playing a game completely in Swedish, just in case any of you were wondering if I'm actually Swedish or not. This Let's Play here should actually take care of any of those doubts. Not that you would have any reason to doubt me on that, but what the hell ever. This is a game that is made by a Swedish company called Levande Böcker. That company is an educational company, so obviously this is an educational game. It deals with the history of Sweden from starting in the 1400s, which is right around the start where Sweden started becoming Sweden. Before this time, Sweden was divided into, I think, 3 separate sort of nation states. I'm not sure how to best describe that. But you had the southern, the middle, and the northern, and during that time, from the end of the Viking period, which would be roughly 1050 to 1100 to around the 1400s, the north of Sweden actually ended right around where Stockholm is today. Further north than that and you would find just nomadic tribes, lots of forests, and no real what they would call civilization. So yeah, it's a shame that this game came out when it did. I think it came out in the late 1990s, because it would have been far more educational had it come with narration instead of just lots and lots of text. The game was used at the many schools here in Sweden to aid in history class. And if this is not your cup of tea, don't bother watching. That's all I've got to say. I will be reading and translating for you all the text in this game. Be aware of this before you start actually committing to watching this. The basis of this game is that it's a rather simple, in my opinion, kind of easy and simplified turn-based strategy game. And you play as one of these 5 families: the Vasa, the Tot, the Brahe, the Grip, and the Sture, or rather. And these would be the prominent Swedish nobility families, or noble families, during this period of time. So, let me introduce you to them. The first is the Vasa family, where I do believe that is where one of our more famous kings came from, Gustav Vasa, who later was, I think, banished and fled on skis over to Norway. Something like that. I'm not the best person on the subject matter as far as the history goes, and I haven't really buffed up on any of the facts for this Let's Play. Just wanted to get that out of the way as well before we actually start this. So I may be wrong on some of the things. I won't be wrong on the stuff that's actually written here, because it's written here, and if that's wrong, then that's the game's fault and not mine. But anything that I add to it, I could be wrong on, but I'm going after what to the best of my knowledge. I will try to be as accurate as possible with the historical facts, if I so choose to actually add something to this, like that little fact about Gustav Vasa. But if you're interested in Sweden and the Swedish history, then please join me as we will explore it through the game Svea Rike II. Svea Rike, by the way, Svea was one of those 3 state countries which consisted of Stockholm and some of the surrounding area, and it became the dominant. The others were Götaland and god damn it, Oh, I can't remember the third one. Götaland, Svealand. Dang it. But Götaland would be where Gothenburg is, and some of that surrounding area, and the third one would be at the southernmost tip of Sweden, somewhere around there, I believe. Like I said, I could be wrong on that, but anyway, Svealand became the predominant faction among those three, if you so will, which is where Sweden started to grow from, when the three country states became united as one Svealand, which then became Sverige, Sweden. So there's your little bit of fact from there. Enough talking from me. I've been talking for fucking 6 minutes and we haven't even started getting into the game yet. So apologies for that if you found this boring, but here we go. Now we start by introducing the Vasa family. Uppländsk, which is Uppland, a county or province here in Sweden, if you so will, nobility. Famous since the 1300s. The name Vasa they did not start using the name Vasa until the end of the 1500s. Yeah, and it will take me some time to do these translations so that I can do them actually accurately and make them sound at least listenable in English. Several of the nobility's members held important positions since the 1400s. Among those, Kjetil Karlsson, who was the regent from 1465. The Vasa lineage arose to the Swedish throne through Gustav Vasa. Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about, whose last reigning descendant was Queen Christina. The lineage died out on the male side in 1672 with Jan II Casimir of Poland. Now, starting the game as the Vasa family, we start in Uppland, which is Stockholm territory, and we start with a church. Now, the church is important in the game because it gives you fame points, I would say. It raises your standings with the Swedish people, and that is one of the goals of the game, to have a high enough standing to actually crown yourself King of Sweden by the end of it. As far as I've understood, I've never actually finished the game because I wanted the ending to be kind of a surprise to me for when I did this. The Tott family, a Skånsk nobility. Skåne is another province, state, county, whatever you would like to call it here in Sweden, and it's the southernmost of them. They were known since the Middle Ages, played an especially large role during the 1400s when Ivar Alexson Tott almost became the heir to the throne in Sweden through a marriage with Karl Knutsson Bondes daughter Magdalena. A later descendant, Åke Henriksson Tott, was one of Gustav II Adolf's most valiant field commanders. Starting as the Tott family, we start in Savolax and Gotland, so we actually have two regions if we choose to start as the Tott family. The Brahe family was a Hallandsk nobility, which had its whose descendants could be traced back to the 1300s, and Halland also another Swedish province, state, county thingy, whatever. Several members of this family were members of the Swedish National Council from the 1500s and forward. Per Brahe was in the 1600s general governor in Finland, and he is the one who is given who started the expression grevens tid, which is a sort of a Swedish term for in the nick of time, in the time of in Count's time, if you want to translate it from word for word into English. But basically that's what it means. And apparently that guy started that expression. If we start as the Brahe family, we start in Nyland, which is actually out in Finland. And we start with a harbor in Östersjön, which is, I don't know what that's called in English, but it's the big body of water separating Sweden from the Baltics and Finland. So you can look that up on a map if you want to know what I'm talking about. You will also be able to see it once I actually get into the game. But I want to introduce these two other families before we get on with that. The Grip family. Södermanländsk adel nobility, which whose descendants noble family started in the 1300s. Södermanland, also another state, province, county, whatever you want to call it. The family's most prominent person would be Bo Jonsson Grip, Sweden's Drots, which I honestly, I have to say I don't know exactly what that is, but I assume that it would be a person of high importance in the 1300s. I'm gonna have to look that up before the next video and give you an explanation of what the fuck a Drots is. And he was also Sweden's richest person throughout time. Apparently no one has ever been richer than him. Something which gave him a position of power without comparison. And he is also the founder of Gripsholms Castle, which is a famous castle here in Sweden. Starting as them, we start in Södermanland, which, like I said, county, whatever, call it what you will, where we own a herresäte. It's a building in the game where we can hire famous special people to aid us in everything that we wish to do in this game. And it's a pretty important building to have later on in the game. You'll see what I mean. I'm not gonna start as them though. I've already chosen which one to start as. And here we have the Sture family. Västergötsk, which is Västergötland. Again, yeah, you know what that is by now. If you don't, derp. It's a nobility that also was started in the 1300s, along with most other Swedish nobilities, because before that time there wasn't really much Swedish. It was those states that I've been talking about. Several different people in the Sture family were country councils. That means they had quite a bit of influence over a country itself, whether it be in Norway, Finland, or Sweden itself. From Anund Sture on the 1300s and forward is when they started having those seats of power. Both Sten Sture the elder and the younger were also riksföreståndare is the Swedish word here, and it basically means regent. These guys were the kings. These guys were king of Sweden for some time. Sort of. They weren't crowned kings, but they were in charge of the country. Algot Magnusson Sture's sister was Gustav Vasa's grandmother. And if we start with the Sture family, we start in Västergötland, which, like I said, I've explained that already, with 10,000 infantry units. that's a pretty good start if you feel like you can't get a good army up when you're going to need it in the game. Now, I'm going to go with the Vasa family. One of the things I love the church and the early bonuses that it gives. We have a decent starting location, and we are defended from every side by all the other families. So that's why I'm choosing to start as these guys. So I'm gonna declare ready, and this is the main menu. This is just tutorial, I don't need to tell you about this. And I wonder, can I lower volume please? Like that. Yeah, that's as low as it goes. I hope that you can hear me over that. So here's the map. This would be the Östersjön I was talking about, right here. And here's the map. We have Sweden here. Currently, the year is 1471, and Denmark is actually in control of Norway. Up here they have Denmark, and they have, that is Skåne right there, the southernmost province of Sweden. We start up here, right where Stockholm is, and then we have this would be Russia. This would be like a Baltic family. I don't know who had that at this time. I believe this is Lithuanian, and this would be German or Teutonic or Holy Roman Empire. I don't really remember which one was in power in this region during this precise time in history. But this is where we are. That's our settings, and this is our court, where we can see stuff like the reputation points for each family. Since no turn has passed yet, none of us have anything like that. We can buy the right to rule in different provinces that are as of yet unclaimed. You can see the cost here. They cost money, which is silver in this case. And the first thing I want to do is buy Lapland up here. That will give me an increased income every turn, and it will also give me a second place to build buildings and expand and station armies, although I can station armies throughout Sweden. So I'm not in competition with the other families for anything other than reputation points, and well, if they take control of land area, I can't do anything about that, except perhaps make sure that I don't help them defend it against our enemies, whoever they may be, and then sweep in to reclaim it, and that will give me power over that area. I want this because this is the province where I live, and I want control of it. We can hire famous people here. We have no famous people available to us yet, but when they become available, we can go to this screen and offer them a salary, and they can choose to either accept or decline. And we can change our diplomatic relations with these different countries here. You've got Denmark, you've got one of these would be Russia, and then you've got these guys who are whatever these guys are. Sorry for not knowing that, everyone. And then you've got, I think, Lithuania. And yeah, that's what it looks like. This is our Uppland, which is right here. And here we have 4 places where we can place buildings. These places that have stone mark that we can build a smithy, which will provide us with iron. And iron's important for building cannons. which can be very effective in this game. We can also build a torp, which is Swedish for little house, basically. It lets us recruit, or it increases the limit of troops that we can have under our command. You see, we have 1 out of 5 right now, and this would increase that to another 5, or with another 5 rather, so we'd have 1 out of 10 if I choose to build that. We can click on the buildings and build improvements, but as you can see, they require both iron and silver, and they cost more than I have available to me as of yet. This is my silver, this is my iron, and this is the amount of troops that I can have, as well as the amount of troops I have currently. And to build more troops I would need this, and I don't have the iron to build that yet. So I'm going to start by spending 100 silver to lay down a smithy. And that would be my first turn. I hope you enjoyed this so far. Next time we actually hit the end turn button, and you will start to see the historical information that this game is filled with. So if this is not interesting for you, don't watch. That's all I've got to say. If it is interesting for you, however, feel free to continue watching. I'm Acciyn, this is Svea Rike II, and I will be playing to make Sweden as great as it can possibly be. Hope to see you in the next video. If not, then whatevs. Bye for now.